Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport. The airport team strives to make air travel accessible to all through the Sunflower program, allowing individuals to self-identify when they need more assistance. More on the Hidden Disability Sunflower program at CIRA.com.
Twin City audiences will soon get to experience courtroom dramas inside an actual courtroom. That's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Friday, September 19th. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with a panel discussion at the Bloomington Public Library today, aiming to illuminate specific challenges and barriers that LGBTQ immigrants face. The noon Lunch and Learn features representatives from the Immigration Project, ISU's Queer Coalition, and Rainbow Railroad. That's a global nonprofit which helps LGBTQ people escape persecution based on sexual orientation or gender identity. WGLT's Lauren Warnicki has more.
Attorney James Brixson from the Immigration Project says LGBTQ immigrants are not currently being targeted for deportation because of their sexuality or gender identity. A more critical concern is policy changes to asylum.
Because of all of the changes that I'm seeing across the board in immigration law, there have been some really harsh judicial decisions that have come down that have really limited LGBTQA asylum.
Zubair Khaled will be speaking on the panel for ISU's Queer Coalition. He immigrated from Bangladesh, where homosexuality is criminalized. He says despite being in the United States legally, fear of deportation is a constant worry.
I do not know what's going on to my case, what's going on to my immigration application, because I have definitely mentioned that I'm a queer person, and then there is a fear of persecution if I go back.
Brixson says a goal of the panel is to ensure stories of LGBTQ persecution get told, particularly amid a push to scrub diversity and inclusion initiatives out of the government. The U.S. State Department's most recent report on human rights practices around the world removed nearly all mention of LGBTQ identity. For The Leadoff, I'm Lauren Warnicki.
Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. A French automotive supplier will be the first company moving into the new supplier park near the Rivian manufacturing plant in West Normal. OP Mobility plans to assemble bumpers in Normal for Rivian's new lower-cost R2 model that goes into production next year. Unit 5 Superintendent Kristen Weichel plans to retire in 5 years. She submitted to the school board a letter of intent to retire at the end of her latest contract. It's in 2030. She says it gives the board time to plan for the future. And there is a temporary ban on open burning across all of McLean County. That's in effect until Friday, September 26th. That's due to extreme fire risk. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. Nomad Theatre Company opens its second season of site-specific shows all over Bloomington Normal with a suite of fictional courtroom dramas and a real one inside an actual courtroom. WGLT's Lauren Warnicki is back with this story.
The McLean County Museum of History is partnering with Nomad Theatre Company to bring a series of justice and power-themed short plays to life for 2 weekends in the Governor Pfeiffer courtroom. Retired Illinois State University theater professor Lori Adams directs Order in the Court, a 10-minute play festival including one by a history teacher and theater buff, John Poling. Poling says there was a large turnout for auditions, with 25 actors cast in the evening's 25 roles.
We've got so many talented theater people in Bloomington Normal, right? And there's only a certain amount of opportunities. Right now, at Community Players, they're doing Heathers. That's a cast that's mainly young people in their 20s and things like that. Right now, at Heartland, they're doing Venus and Fur. Two-person show, right? You've got all these actors out here who are just looking for something, something to do. And then along comes Nomad with 25 roles, and you're like, yeah, buddy, let's go over an audition.
Adams says the audience will get to experience a mix of serious and silly topics in the 7 10-minute plays in the series.
We've got contemporary realism, we've got futuristic plays, we've got topical plays, lots of topics come up.
One of those topics is a retelling of true events. In 1858, a large group of women attacked the Buena Vista Saloon in Towanda, believing alcohol to be the main cause of debauchery by their husbands. Up to 70 women are reported to have participated in the rampage. 15 were arrested. In an edition of the Weekly Panagraph about the proceedings, a bartender recounted that night before the court. It went something like this. When the women came in, I told them they must not disturb the wine and the cider. They said everything must go. And it went. The property destroyed was about $100. The women said nothing to me except everything must go. But some of them smiled a good deal. The reporter dubbed the women the indignant ladies of Towanda, a title polling simply could not refuse.
Originally, I was going to call it something like Incident at the Buena Vista, which is the name of the saloon. And then when I ran across that quote, and I brought it today because it was not a positive thing to say about the women, because they were talking about the owner of the tavern, John O'Brien, and it says the article says he was the recipient of the harsh treatment at the hands of the indignant ladies of Towanda. And as soon as I ran across that quote, I was like, there's my title.
The ladies appeared before a judge in the second of McLean County's 4 courthouses, now the site of a 1903 building that became the McLean County Museum of History.
He's created a wonderful device in that they are looking back, 38 years in the future. So when we see them, they're looking back to when it happened. Where John has them stray from the story, it's very important. I'm not going to give it away, but it's very important that they stray away from the story to have the full impact of what this really meant.
Decades before the temperance movement really took hold in the United States, this was one way one group of women in one town could exercise their power and influence.
We forget how much women were second-class citizens. You could make that argument into the 1970s when you couldn't even get a credit card in your own name if you were a woman, kind of thing, right? But in the 19th century, a woman was not even seen. She was either, a wife or she was the property of a father, kind of thing, right? So for them to take this big of a step, right, and try to eliminate a problem, the fact that they did that they empowered themselves and did that is really amazing.
I'm Lauren Warnicki.
Order in the Court runs through September 27th at the McLean County Museum of History. VIP tickets will get you a seat in the jury box. General admission secures you a spot in the gallery.
Support for arts and culture coverage on WGLT comes from PNC Financial Services. PNC is committed to supporting local arts and culture events in the communities they serve.
Before we let you go, there's a memorial for Bill Solaski. Today from 3 to 6 at the Bloomington Country Club. Solaski was the first chair of ISU's Board of Trustees and a WGLT superfan. He died last month at the age of 85. And that is it for today. I'm Ryan Denham, and the show is produced by Cheyenne Brown. You can subscribe to The Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.